the whole tractate, the tractate of Sotah, begins with a dispute between Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Yehoshua as to what the standards of evidence are required. And Rabbi Eliezer says they both agree that warning has to be done in front of two witnesses, but evidence of seclusion, well, that's the question. Rabbi Eliezer says only one witness is required. And Rabbi Yehoshua says that two are required. So that's how the Mishnah opens. And now we're in the 6th chapter. We're going to close the Mishnah of Sotah. There are a few more chapters to go, but these deal with different topics. The real Mishnah of Sotah is closing in this chapter. I'm going to close as we began with the laws of evidence. And we've already said, by the way, that the whole purpose of the Sotah ritual, the ritual of the bitter waters, the curse-making waters, is in order to clear up matters of uncertainty. So maybe it's not surprising that there's a lot of discussion in this chapter about the laws of evidence. And the 6th chapter begins. Someone who warned her, even if he heard from a flying bird, must divorce and give her the ketubah. Divrei Rabbi Eliezer, according to Rabbi Eliezer. And remember, Rabbi Eliezer is the person who at the beginning of the Mishnah who said, the laws of evidence are a little bit lighter here, particularly not for the warning, but for seclusion. And the Mishnah must be talking here about someone who's heard from a flying bird. What is a flying bird? I don't think the Mishnah is literally talking about a flying bird. He's talking about a witness who is unreliable. So he's heard some rumor or some hearsay, or perhaps he's heard from someone who's not a kosher witness. He's heard evidence of her seclusion after warning her. It sounds as though he's not going to make her drink. Of course, he could make her drink, but if he doesn't make her drink, she's now forbidden to him. And if he doesn't make her drink, she gets the ketubah. So Rabbi Eliezer will say, look, if minor evidence arrives and he doesn't make her drink, she divorces, she gets her ketubah. And Rabbi Yehoshua actually he's going to hold his position that two witnesses are required. And he says, Rabbi Yehoshua Omer, Misha Yisuvi Nuva, Motzarot Bilvana. Someone who is discussed by, what are these people discussing her mutzarot bilvana? Apparently these are the women who spin in the moonlight. These are people this is feminine society. They're discussing this woman. And it sounds as though Rabbi Yehoshua is prepared to take a woman as a witness for this purpose. And the Mishnah is going to now just carry on. The Mishnah is just going to explore who is eligible as a witness. Amar Eid Echad, maybe one witness said. Now, this is not for the seclusion, but, well, let's hear. So two witnesses have given evidence that she was warned, and two that she was secluded. So she's now eligible for the Sotah ritual, but she still doesn't have to drink. Amar Eid Echad ani re'iti hashenit meit. One witness said, I saw that she was defiled. Lo haita shota, she doesn't drink, doesn't have to drink. Velo od, she doesn't have to drink, she doesn't drink, she can't drink. But in this case, of course, she'll be divorced without her ketubah. Velo od, eila afilu eved, afilu shifcha, hare elu ne'manim af lefosla mi ketubata. Not only that, but even a slave, even a maidservant, these are not normal witnesses. Afilu eved, afilu shifcha, hare elu ne'manim af lefosla mi ketubata. But even a slave or a maidservant is believed to disqualify her from receiving her ketubah, i.e., if they say, Ani ra'itiha shenitmat, I saw she was defiled, she can't drink, she doesn't get a ketubah, she's divorced. But, and there's a but, there are still exceptions. And you remember, when we learned the Mishnah of Yevamot, we learned that there were certain individuals who were notoriously in bad relationships, who notoriously resented a wife. And their testimony would not be accepted to allow a wife to remarry. And we're going to have the same list again here. Chamota uvat chamota, her mother-in-law's daughter, that's her sister-in-law. Vitsarata, her rival wife, the other wife in the household, if there are two wives. Vivimta, her yivimta is going to be the daughter of her. It's is going to be her sister-in-law. In other words, the wife of her yabam. So let's say her husband dies. Her yabam is going to be her husband's brother, her brother-in-law, and vivimta is going to be his wife, i.e., her sister-in-law. Of course, she's going to be a rival wife if Yibum takes place. Uvat Bala, and the daughter of her husband. All of these people perhaps resent this lovely young wife who the husband has taken on. Hare elu ne'emanot lo lefosla miktubata ela shelo tishte. They are believed, actually. So we are going to believe them, but not to disqualify her from receiving her ketubah. No, lefosla miktubata, not to disqualify her from receiving the ketubah. Clearly, we're not going to believe a woman who might resent the wife for a financial matter like that. Ela shelo tishte, but that she should not drink. So, in other words, if one of these individuals gave evidence against her, then she won't have to drink, but then she will go out with her ketubah. So we rely on these individuals, if you like, to help her, but not to disadvantage her.